Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Psychic Tarot Show, live with Ashala here on the Beyond Mystic YouTube, Rumble, and X channels. Lovely to see you all. Welcome, welcome from all over the globe. Love to see your comments. So nice to be back. It's been a while. And I'm looking forward to seeing what is in store for us in this upcoming week. So we are looking at a forecast that takes us from today, the 26th of July, Saturday, to next Saturday, August 2nd. Before we get started, folks, as always, I'll remind you to please like, share, and subscribe over here to the Beyond Mystic YouTube channels, and also follow us on Rumble and X. And if you would like to book a session with me, a private recorded 1-hour psychic tarot reading, I have openings in this upcoming week. You can use the coupon code below to receive a 10% discount. So let's jump in and see what the cards say about this week. Looks like we have a question here from Listening to Discern. Are we able to collectively, telepathically interfere with geological changes? It sounds as though Penny alluded to this ability. My sense is yes, and I wonder if that's going to come up in this overview for this week. Thank you for your question, Listening to Discern. Penny, Kelly, and I will be doing an Intuition Friday. We've been away for the whole month of July, but starting this coming Friday, so August 1st, I believe we are doing a session, an Intuition Friday session. So we will be able to look at this question then as well. So let's begin. Take some deep breaths together, tune our energy in, ground. I always like to feel the energy of both Earth and cosmos as I'm tuning inward, really allowing myself to pick up on that strong magnetic pulsing energy. I see our Earth as a beautiful giant toroidal generator that is literally generating matter out of consciousness. And there's this beautiful sort of pulsing energy at the core of that. I call that the heartbeat of our Earth Mother. So I like just to breathe that into my own heart center, come into alignment with that at the beginning of a reading or a session, and also perceive the energy of cosmos, which I see as this radiant, loving light consciousness streaming towards us from all directions. The cosmos is not just over our heads, it's actually 360 degrees in every direction. So I love to breathe that radiant frequency, loving light consciousness through every pore of my being, and then just exhale out anything that is no longer serving me. So you can join me in this. And I feel like as we tune in together, bring our awareness, align all our bodies, mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical, coming into this present moment, we are claiming our birthright to be here on this beautiful planet at this time. This is our home. It's where we belong. Well, it's one of our homes, but it's definitely where we belong at this moment. So with that grounding kind of frequency alignment, let's have a look at this week and see how we move through these extraordinary times. Starting off with a beautiful card in the house of Aries. So Aries being the self, the ego, the personality. This is an upgrade. It's a mini upgrade. It's not the biggest gateway card of all of them. That would be something more like Judgment or the World. The Four of Wands is one of the smaller gateways, but it indicates that things are coming into alignment. It is a beautiful starting point. You notice that the characters on the card are looking like they have something to celebrate. Do you see how they're going to go through this gateway with the flowers overhead? They're holding their bouquets high above their heads. Celebration. And a little bit of a feeling with this card too of reuniting, coming together with family and friends, with loved ones, a time of gathering energy. So all of that is relevant for the Four of Wands. And we're going now into Taurus, our security, our wealth, our finances. Ooh, pretty good. Lucky stars. Okay, we are going through an incredible star activation time right now. We're going through the Perseids, tongue-tied, Perseids meteor shower is happening this week and next week. It happens every year at this time, just coming up to the Lionsgate portal on August 8th. This year, if you watched the Beyond the News last night, we were talking about a lot of solar energy, and this particular star season looks really powerful. We were also talking about the Atlas comet. So right now, with these two cards side by side, it's looking positive, right? We look at how they balance or affect each other. So when you get positive cards surrounding each other, they positively aspect each other. So our finances, we are at a gateway coming into expansion, right? The star is about our stars are rising. There's an up leveling. It's another kind of gateway up leveling card in the financial frequency. So let's see what's around it on the other side to see how well it's aspected. Oh my gosh, remember I talked about, I said the gateway, this being one of the smaller gateways in our personality ego. In Gemini, the house of Gemini here, we have one of the big gateways, the world. So worldwide communication systems. Now, we just had an experience this week where a worldwide communication system, satellite networks, were disrupted. And we've been seeing a lot of disruptions during this Mercury retrograde with worldwide telecommunication networks. So right now, that's well aspected, meaning that it's an upgrade to something that's going to serve us better. We will keep going around the wheel and see how this plays out. Okay, so we have our first challenging card coming in the house of home, of sanctuary, and it does feel like we are somewhat bombarded. So this is on a not so much an energetic level, but on a psychic mental level. So this is a bit of a retreat. It's a time where you don't try to solve everything. Isn't this interesting, right? We have in Gemini new information being brought forward with that world card, even global connections with finding out ways that the whole globe is working in tandem, right? We all know that. But I think a lot of people are going to be waking up to that realization this week. At the same time, there's an information overload. There's quite a lot of energy in the psychic airwaves as well that is tiring to us mentally. So if you're feeling confused, overwhelmed, kind of mentally exhausted, this makes sense. And it feels like it is in our home, meaning that we are, it doesn't feel like a great sanctuary, the home experience. So let's look and see where we can find sanctuary. There could even be a sense this week that you've outgrown your home. Now, it's funny because I just finished working on producing my Feng Shui program, which is going to be launched on August 4th. And there's a lot about how you can, even in your home that you're in, you can have this renewal by going through each section of your home and reorienting it according to Feng Shui principles. And you can literally create without spending a lot of money, you can literally create a new experience of home by moving your things that you already have around purposefully and intentionally. So that could be helpful for people this week to even get ready for something like that, because and clearing clutter from your home, um, because this feels like we have outgrown some aspect of our homes, and we're going to want to change them to reflect the new version of us, if that makes sense. Let me know in the comments if that is kind of making sense for you. And I talk about clearing clutter. In fact, all of module 1 in the Feng Shui program is about clearing the clutter in our homes, which is back actually holding stagnant energy, and it's holding us to the past, to the earlier versions of us. So this is both feeling bombarded because of all the energy, the solar activation, the meteor showers, right? The comets, all of this energy, and also the what we're holding in our homes, the way things have been placed, or our clutter, or the things that are stagnant that are holding us into the past. So that could feel extra poignant this week. It could feel like, wow, I just want to clear stuff, change my home scenario in some way. Yeah, Jenny is saying, I notice with a lot of people I'm talking to lately that their home is not a sanctuary right now for them. Not everyone, but enough. Yeah, right. And Hermiller is saying out with the old and in with the new. So I think that when this program comes out, it's going to be just right. It's going to be the right time, where obviously we're not going to change the world by feng shuiing and reorienting our home space, but it can have a huge effect on your mental and psychic well-being. So that's interesting. Okay, let's go to the next position. Another kind of blocked in the mental psychic realm, and this is the house of Leo. So this is where we feel confident, we feel expansive. This could be a lot of feeling like we're going back, we're replaying our victim stories this week. Boy, this is exhausting, isn't it? It's like you find yourself coming from that place. I do it more often than I care to admit, honestly. I know better, but I find myself doing it, and I see all the things that are wrong, right? I'm like, well, I don't like this, and I don't like that, and I don't like this, and I don't like that. And next thing you know, you are literally pinned in with these negative storylines. And if this is the house of Leo, which is courage, extroversion, expansion, it doesn't feel like you're going to have the experience of being super courageous and expansive this week. Let's see what's around it and opposite, because sometimes we can get underneath this and apply some strategic leverage to change that, right? What we're doing with these forecasts is we're observing how we're all kind of, Meg and I do it with the as above below. It's like the cards are suggesting things, and the astrological transits are mirroring that. And when we know, oh gosh, this isn't just me going through, I can't seem to see the forest for the trees right now. I'm seeing a lot of things that I don't like, that I feel victimized by. And if we know that this is actually a collective experience we're going through, I think that helps us to not get so personally woven into it and go, okay, why is this happening? What can we do to shift this? Because look at this. I mean, we're starting off with this beautiful energy. So this feels like a congested node. Let's see what comes next. Aha. Now, Just before we started this live, I looked up because I did on my YouTube channel, I did a forecast for the year. I do it every year. And I had a card in each of the months. And so the card for the month of August was the Seven of Wands. This is showing up in our Virgo house, which is our how we navigate the daily routines, the little details of life, our health, our habits, and so on. Seven of Wands is the Valor card. It is about holding the line. You see how he's holding the high ground, and he's also, in a way, he's straddling between the worlds, between the polarized narratives, and sometimes I see this like he's kind of sewing the two sides together. He's holding things together. So there's an energy of hold the line in your daily health, your lifestyle, your practices, the little details of life. So this would suggest that all this sword energy here that doesn't look too lovely is a phase, and we don't want to make a big story about this, right? Like, what is it about looking at our homes differently and going, oh, home just doesn't feel like a sanctuary right now? What is it about that can actually be beneficial? Are we going to be changing? Are we going to be contemplating moving? Are we going to be pivoting in how we live, where we live, who we live with, what sanctuary looks like? We're really having a good think about all this week. We're like, yeah, I don't want to keep this same kind of loop going. Okay, so, but overall, you see, health is actually going to ride these waves pretty nicely with that Seven of Wands. Ooh, now we go into the house of Libra, relationships, partnerships. You got to notice here, everybody, this is also a finance card. Can you see that it looks almost like this character in the center that is well dressed and seems to have, I don't know if you can see it properly, but it looks like he's depositing some coins into the hands of these people that are at maybe on the fringe. They're not as well off. And there's we call this the reciprocity card or generosity card. And it's, you notice that he's holding the scales. So it's like things coming into balance with the financial system, where there is a reward for us having hung in there. And so this looks very well because related to that star in the Taurus money house, that there could be some incredible financial wins this week. Sixes are also, they are a success number. So financial wins, restoring balance, reciprocity, people getting paid back for things or getting paid forward for things. Overall, this is a very positive card with regards to resources and money. And it's in the house of relationships and contracts. So there could be some very favorable contracts put in place this week with regards to either personal business, personal finance, on a larger global scale, with writing the financial systems and putting money back into the hands of people. So we may see some evidence of this starting to trickle in this week. And I think it's perfect timing. And it's interesting, right? Like, you see that, and then you say, well, what are we going to do with what looks like it's going to start becoming a more abundant future? What are we going to do? What does home look like in that new future? What are we going to be investing in? So I often get this feeling that Spirit doesn't really give us, especially those of us that are, spiritually open, conscious, fast evolvers, we don't get a lot of just, soaked in wealth and abundance where we could get stuck in the wrong place or in the wrong, career, in the wrong, yeah, like home. We don't get left to settle into something that's not ideal for us. So we keep the money doesn't really come until we are on the right track. Now, of course, this isn't across the board the rule, but if you're waiting for the money, the RV, the gold and silver prices to skyrocket and so on, consider what you're going to do differently when that happens, because it almost feels like that's how we prime this pump to move faster. Let me know if that makes sense to any of you in the comments here. Yeah. Yeah. So, oh my goodness, yes. And then all of it, right? The topics of income tax, all of this is up right now, and it feels like we are looking at systems continuing to be replaced with new ones. But again, it isn't an instant quick fix, it's a gradual fix. And I've been saying for a really long time, if you have projects that you want to work on, we're waiting for the RV. However, I've been getting in the cards that I've been reading over the last 3 or 4 years that money is already being distributed to places. And if we go looking for grants, for subsidies and so on, it's actually there. So my sense is that we get started with some of these projects, designing business models. This is a fantastic card to have in the house of contracts with business. Really good week to set up some business contracts. Okay, we have the Emperor in Scorpio. Now, I don't remember what Meg said, but I feel like there's still some kind of heavy energy going on with Pluto, which is connected to Scorpio. This feels like we are still in a power pressure cooker. And it's very interesting that this Emperor has shown up in all the readings this week in a position of being still pressurizing us. So the Emperor is, among other things, related to rules, basically power, systems of power and dominance. And it feels like there's still quite a lot of repressive, power dominant energy. And we're wondering, when does this shift, right? It's also curious that it's bringing us all back to look at our own relationships with power dynamics in our lives. And interestingly, a couple of the women that I did readings for this week had big stuff they were working out around being parented by a very strict father figure. So it's happening inside of us where we're coming to terms with this, and we're still realizing that we're still carrying this imprint, right? 10 of Swords, 8 of Swords. We're still, you notice in this card, this person is literally surrounded by these swords that feel as though they're kind of locked into something like a prison. And they have the blindfold on, they're all wrapped up, like they're kind of held hostage by, what are the swords? Beliefs, stories, ways that you were told to act, basically programming from maybe even childhood by an authoritarian, either parental figure or an authoritarian system of rules. So we are all feeling the constraint of this week. We're like extra sensitive to like, hey, enough of that. enough of that power dominance. And maybe we have to go through it a little longer so that we clear this in ourselves. Because look at that, the star across from that emperor, you know, we really are ready to rise, and we don't want this to hit the ceiling of this um, power dominant model. Okay, let's see what's on the other side of that emperor. Oh, ouch. Okay. Yeah, this is really a lot about authority and feeling like you're not able to do things because you're going to get in trouble. We're going to all be kind of facing our own fear of trouble, of being reprimanded, right? When you've got that authority figure next to the moon is in Sag. Sag is about expansion, about adventure, about play, not feeling like we're very free here with these two sword cards in their position. And it's taking us back to, I remember as a child feeling very restricted. I know personally, I remember feeling I had a very, very strict father figure. And what does that do? On some levels, there's certain aspects of very strong parenting that make us strong people. But there's also ways that it gives us a ceiling, a cutoff as to how free we are to live our authentic self, right? We're always kind of looking over our shoulder and afraid. So this is coming up right this week because it's time to move this out, to make new agreements with power and authority. Yeah, let me know how that is landing for some of you. Oh, yeah. Right. Pluto is still opposite the sun. So this feeling of being constrained by power and authority systems. We're all doing our own little version of clearing that. And it was interesting. One of these women, the message came through to basically say, okay, father energy, the patriarchal, even the government systems, right? Where you are welcome is to protect, to defend, and to create a stable, supportive foundation. Where you're not welcome is to direct, self-expression, creativity, personal decisions, right? Like, we want to really be grateful for that patriarchal energy to do its job of defending, protecting, and basically supporting and giving a foundation of security. But other than that, it needs to not be pervasively involved in controlling all aspects of our lives. So if we can look at our own childhoods and clear some of that with our own father figures and go, you know what? This is where your power stops. You have power over these things, but not over here. Yeah, right. Because I think a lot of us, we had to do a dance with that power. It's like if we wanted to have the security, the protection, the defense of our father figures, we had to follow their rules, which a lot of times did not make sense. And they were a lot about limiting and restricting us. So we're breaking through some of that, folks. We're breaking through some of that. Wow. Okay. I'm going to just lift this. Up a little bit. Move this over so you can see. There we go. So you get to see this King of Pentacles up in the top. Okay, so the King of Pentacles, unlike our Emperor, he's all about win-win, right? He's all about let's all get strong and healthy together. So he's not as interested in controlling and dominating. He's more interested in enriching and stabilizing. So the King of Pentacles showing up in our house of Capricorn, rules, systems, structure, authority. We are looking to have new role models that are our leaders, that are really, I want to say, a little bit more in the humility realm, a little bit more in the kind of grassroots realm, because that King of Pentacles, he's what we used to say, Janine and I used to say about him is he'll roll up his sleeves and get out there in the field and work with the workers. He's one with the people. He's not above them. So this is just interesting that we are looking at that. It's also another very positive financial card. So the financial world, the alternative currencies are going to grow this week. We're going to see a flourish, a bloom, a strong leadership from those areas, from the areas of alternative currency, of off-grid currency like Yahoo. That everything to do with the finances in our wheelhouse, the way we approach finances is getting a big thumbs up this week. We've got in the financial house, the star. We've got in the relationship contract house, reciprocity, balancing financial giving and receiving, things coming more in balance. And then we've got up in Capricorn, rules, systems. We've got one of the most wealth-oriented abundance for all characters in the tarot up there. So good news on the financial front for everybody. Isn't that great? Oh, yay. And wow, our networks of let's look to solutions this week. So here we are feeling very, again, we feel the victimization. We feel very constrained, the pressure, right? It's building to this high pressure point. The release valve is to get talking amongst ourselves about solutions, about ideas, sharing information. I feel like so much stuff is going to get shared in our community. Watch the chats this week, folks. Watch the community comments in Janine's website. Like, everybody just start sharing information, because it's interesting. I do all these readings with so many of you, and I'm just like, oh my God, if we could put that person with this person, and then those people could tell these people what they know. Like, we've got such resources in our community about everything, about every topic. So get on the chats. I know you already do, but share. It's almost like for every one of these things that we feel stuck with, there are solutions in our community. So ask questions of each other, share knowledge and information, share resources. This is a great week. It's almost like the chats are blowing up and stuff is just flying in every direction. It's so awesome to see you all feeling like, your little thing, whatever you know about, whatever you've learned and experienced firsthand. Like, it's one thing to share stuff that we just saw it on the internet and we think it's a good idea and we're sharing it. It's another thing to share something. You've been practicing that thing. You've had that healing experience. You've, literally worked with that currency and had real great result. And you're sharing what you know firsthand. This is the time to get out there on the airwaves and share your successes, because we need to feel that buoyancy in our community, that for every problem, there's a solution, right? For every pot, there's a lid. Yeah. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny. Right? Yeah. Sharing solutions. share the positivity, and not just like everything's going to be all right. Think positive. Share what's working. Share your success stories. Um, yeah, like just blow up the back channels this week, folks, with all the stuff that you are learning and what you've practiced and actually have firsthand experience with. Okay, right? Because it's going to feel very easy this week. Look at these swords, the 8, the 9, and the 10 of swords in the position of Leo, Cancer, and Pisces. So really, Leo, our confidence, Cancer, our home and our sanctuary, and Pisces, our subconscious. Not feeling, we're not feeling very confident or safe at home, feeling very secure, and subconsciously everything is just rattling around in there. Yeah, they're kind of going, there's a great noise coming up from the subconscious this week, and a lot of distraction in the subconscious. So what I'm actually getting as a really big theme this week is to absorb less and express more. Like, put out what you want to see and don't take in too much of what you don't want to see. Really focus on, if you start getting activated, do something to change the direction, to put the energy out, right? Because this reciprocity card as well, it's a lot about, people used to talk to me about feeling psychically attacked or feeling like they are, like they've got an entity attached to them or something. And years ago, like 25 years ago, when I first started doing this work, it came so clear in readings and intuitive sessions that the sort of remedy for that is actually different than you might think. We might think, oh, I got to pull up a wall and I got to, close everything out. It's actually to radiate so strongly outward that nothing gets in. So these things come in where we have these down points, right? When we're feeling low, when we're feeling victimized, when we're feeling compressed, when we're going back into being those little children with a controlling parental figure that makes us feel small and makes us feel disempowered and anxious. So when we're in those states, it's really easy for the entities and the dark force energy to come in, and then you feel worse, right? It's a downward spiral. So the solution is to be bold, love big, be generous hearted, open, and offer something. Soon as we go into the expression of, generosity, contributionism, it shifts our energy and it makes this radiant wave coming out from us. Nothing can come in. Nothing can align with that radiant, positive energy that is dark. So your solution is actually to kind of keep your pilot light turned up. How do you do that? Keep applying. Where can I be of service? How can I make this better? What do I have that will help somebody? If it has to be simple and small, random acts of kindness, do it. Just change your frequency when you find yourself going into this. I do this a lot. I go into these places too. And thankfully, I have my daughter close to me, and she's like, oh, you're sounding like a victim right now, Mom. And then I'm like, I know. Okay. Light myself up from inside. What little thing can I do to bless the universe, the world, with something positive? As soon as I do that, it starts to shift all that energy, right? So you're going to have lots of opportunity to practice this week, everybody, because we're all going to be pulled into these distortions psychically and mentally. Okay, does this mean there's no threats? No, it doesn't mean there's no threats, but what we recognize is that the threats have so much more control over us and the ability to get in there and start, literally disempowering us if we give them that power. We have so much more resource to change the direction of the future if we continue to stay in that generosity, gratitude. Okay, final card. We're going to also need to let some anger out this week. Everybody, grab your pillow, go in the closet, punch something, punch and kick, smash your recycling at the depot, like let it out, yeah, like yell it out, punch it out, like get out on your rebounder and jump up and down, stomp around, let some of this go. Yeah, let some of this go, because there is, as we're going through these great shifts, right? The matrix is crumbling, yes. And as we are going through all of this, anger is coming to the surface, especially with all these swords cards, right? And all this feeling of, we could feel very victimized this week. It could be a lot of replaying how hard life has been or how unfair it all is. There could be a lot of that rolling around in your head this week. And yeah, thank you, B. Victoria. Thank you. Yep. It is, look at this. We have all this positive stuff and we have some real challenges, and it's a very mixed bag this week. It's not just like, we've had some really positive weeks, a lot of really positive energy coming towards us. This week, there's really big, look at this. We're coming in up-leveling, willing. Yeah. Talk it out. Jenny's saying, since it's swords, write it out and rip it up. It will feel so good to get that out. Pent up mental energy out. Yeah, definitely. And growth comes from challenges. Yeah. Thank you. Well, it's a reflection. I'm a reflection of all of you. And as I say constantly, and as I say in my sessions with people, the readings are a reflection of your strength, your clarity, your courage, your energy is what I'm not reading my guides. I'm reading our guides, your guides. So this kind of information can come through when you are in that place. Yeah. Mixed bag indeed. Yeah, you're so welcome. And yeah, fight. Interesting, right? Like, we want to go out there and fight the enemy outside, but a lot of times we're co-creating this world by not dealing with the enemies inside of us. So just getting this anger out, this pent up stored anger, it's going to be a lot lighter. We're going to feel a lot clearer. It will help with all these swords. You could almost say that these swords are literally old anger that's just wedged in there. And because we have all of them, 8, 9, 10 of swords, which is the victim, the anxiety, and the surrender. That's what those three cards mean. Um, we have an opportunity this week to really let go of a lot of that old anger, those old patterns. So do the great work. Do the great work this week. And, the question that came in earlier about, do we have an impact on the natural world? Can we actually change the geological, energies around us? Let's have a look here. We'll pull three more cards. The Fool, Three of Wands, and the Page of Pentacles. Absolutely. So, when we think about, I don't know, the movies with the wizards that, wave their wand and everything changes and they can make these huge weather events and all that kind of stuff. My experience with magic over the decades that I've been involved with it is that it's a very humble, real, true magic is very, very humble and very gentle. It isn't about big sweeping demonstrations of extraordinary phenomena. It's about the little things. And the details are in the little offerings, right? So yes, you'd be surprised how one small offering can make huge changes. But it has to be done with humility in the heart. It has to be done with also humility and generosity. And that's where true power resides. So yes, you can do a big change by doing a small thing really beautifully, really humbly, really earnestly. By doing that, you have no idea the ripple that those seemingly humble offerings. So if you're working with nature, giving a gift, saying a prayer of gratitude, saying, I support this area in not having a big cataclysmic volcano or earthquake or whatever. I support Mother Nature, just like we talked about us getting some of this anger out so we don't blow up. We can do that little thing, and we don't know how much that is rippling out to the lands that we live in and affecting the natural world around us. I believe it has a huge effect. And I'm going to leave you with this thought. Over the years, I've observed that the humble effect of something innocent and beautiful and truly integral is way more powerful than the huge effect of something dark, manipulative, and controlling. I actually feel the great, the power of small is, we underestimate how potent it is. The meek shall inherit the earth. So have a beautiful week, everybody. We will leave off here with reminders that you can book a session with me. Find me here at the beyondmysticconsultations.net. You can use the coupon code below to get a 10% discount on a 1-hour session with me that we will do a wheel, something similar to this, where we have a look at the big picture of your life. And then that takes about 20 minutes. Then we look at questions that you have related to that. And the whole thing is recorded so you can listen to it again later on down the road. Let's have a look at the Beyond Mystic schedule for the rest of this week and going into next week. So we've got tomorrow Beyond Astro with Meg on Rumble and YouTube, 6 p.m. Eastern. And we've got the Wacky Woo Sunday at 8 p.m. to 9, Jean-Claude and Jay Widener. And then we've got our Daily Astro Show with Meg again on Monday, and the As Above So Below show with Meg and myself. Yeah, so that's what we got to look forward to coming up. Of course, as always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe over here on Beyond Mystic YouTube channel. Lots of really great stuff coming up. And you can also follow us on Rumble and X channel. Super. Have a lovely week, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you all here next Saturday. Bye for now.